Hello, welcome all, welcome in another important video. I hope you all are doing great. This video is gonna be really important video because in this video we are gonna be discussing about Docker network. Okay, so in this video we will discuss about Docker bridge network and we will create our custom Docker bridge network and we will try to assign that network to our containers. Okay, and we will also see what is an importance of creating our custom network and what all benefits we will get after creating our custom network. Okay, so let's get started. But before we actually run any command, so let's take one step back and let's try to understand what is network first. So network is nothing but connection between multiple devices. So for an example, if multiple PCs connected to each other, then we will call it as a network. Okay, so in a network, computers can share their information, their resources, and have a communication between each other. Okay, so similarly in a Docker also we will need network, because if you remember Docker property, one of the property that Docker offers is isolation. So every single container that we are creating inside the Docker is isolated by default. So basically that container will not have access to data of other container. So if you want to communicate two different containers with each other, then you will need to establish connection between them, and that we will call as a network. Okay, so we will need to create a network and we will need to connect those two containers on the same networks. Then and then only these two containers will be able to communicate with each other. Okay, and that's what exactly we are going to demonstrate in this video. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, let me increase font size and let's start with basic command. So we have docker network command and we have multiple options. So first of all, let's try to list all the available network using docker network list command. So here we have three default networks. Okay, and in your case also you will find these three default networks. So first is bridge, second is host, and third one is the none. Okay, so we will see all of this one by one, but for now, for this particular video, we have decided to focus on bridge network. Okay, so we will stick with this bridge network only. Okay, so by default, whenever we create Docker container, those container gets assigned to this bridge network. Okay, so if you don't specify any specific network, then whatever the container you're going to be creating will get assigned to this particular network. Okay, so but Docker always suggests you to create your own network in order to maintain security, because if you create your own network, you will have better control over that network. You will know which container is a part of that network, and you will be able to maintain security of that container and that network. Okay, so Docker always recommend you to create your own network. Okay, so first of all, let me create one basic Docker container. So let me use docker run command, and in this case I will use detached mode. I want its interactive terminal, and I'm gonna create Ubuntu terminal. All right, and let me specify bin bash, and one more thing, I will give name to this container. Let's say demo1. Okay, and I think that's it. If I create the container, so now it is working. And one thing you might have observed here, I haven't specified any network here. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, if you don't specify any particular network by the time of creating container, this container will get attached to default network. We can verify that as well. So what I need to do here is I need to inspect this particular network to check whether this container is attached to this network or not. Okay, and the way we can inspect this network is simple inspect command. We need to specify docker inspect, and we will need to give network ID. So it's B19. Okay, and as you can see here inside the containers list, we have one entry, and you can also check name of the container. Okay, So name of the container is demo1. So this is how it works. So currently we do not specify any network, that's why it is under the default bridge network. Okay, so now let's do one thing. Let me create one customized bridge network, and let me first of all clear all the terminal. So I'm going to create custom bridge network, and we will try to assign that container, and we will try to assign that network to the container. Okay, so the command to create custom network is docker network create, and then using -d we need to specify the type of network. So in our case we are trying to create bridge network, and then you will need to specify name of the network. Okay, it could be anything. In my case I'm going to give it a name mynet. Okay, and that's pretty much it. You just need to press enter and your network is now ready. So let's list all the networks, and now you can see we have one custom network. Okay, you can also check its type. Its type is bridge, and this is its ID. Okay, so now if I inspect this, docker inspect b7, now if you see here under the container section, it's here under the container section there is no entry. That means this network do not have any container assigned. Okay, so let's quickly create one container. I'll use our previous command itself. This time I will give container name to 2, but now this time we will assign specific network to this container. Okay, so we need to specify network option, and then you need to specify name of the network. So in our case we have created network with the name mynet. That's why I have mentioned mynet here. All right, and let me hit enter. Okay, so now our container is ready. Let me inspect b7 again, and now if you see here our custom network, this is our custom network, by the way. You can see mynet, which is our custom network, and if you see here inside the container list, now we have one entry, and our demo2 container is now a part of mynet network. Okay, so this is really simple. You can assign network to our container by the time of creating it.